Hello, beautiful warriors. Whew, I'm thirsty. Let me get something to drink. All right. Welcome to my fifth video. Thank you so much for all of you who've been tuning in. And I've gotten so much support and love from all of you, and this has honestly created so much creativity inside of me. So thank you. Thank you for staying with me, and thank you for continuing to watch these videos. My goal is to really share what I know as much as possible for those of you, for all of us who are healing our personal traumas. And there's nothing better that I could gift to this world than that. I think that's my life mission, and that's what I'm gonna do. So before we get started, our video today is gonna be about courage. Okay, courage to face some of our toughest fears and critics, which is oftentimes living inside of us. Before we begin with that, I just want to, first of all, I want to congratulate Maria Teresa and Dmitry Muratov for winning the Nobel Peace Prize. I think this is so exciting. I had, this is another time, I'm just gonna, I had, for all of those, for all of you who know me, I'm quite a, what do you call this? I'm quite opinionated about social media and my criticism and lack of participation of especially Facebook and Instagram. So I feel really validated that not only did someone from my country of origin won the Nobel Peace Prize, which is the first time it's ever happened, but it's also about a subject that I'm really, really passionate about, which I could create another video for another time. But I just want to say that I fully, wholeheartedly support them, and I am a firm believer that these big companies need to be held accountable in sharing what is accurate and truthful information. And so that leads us to this video. This is what I really want to share with you, is accurate and truthful information so that you can take this with you. Most importantly, take this with you, please. This is a gift to you. And you can take it with you in every part of your life when you are conducting with the rest of the world. So I want to touch upon a few things before we move on forward in terms of what you can expect from me in this channel, and as well as what I expect of you. So a lot of you, I know a lot of you are coming from my friends ASMR channel. My friend Sumita Coco, she runs a really, really successful YouTube channel that helps people sleep and relax, and I am so in love with all of you who have decided to come to this channel to also learn about this process that I call trauma transfiguration, because this is where you're going to find it. This, my podcast, and especially my newsletter. So highly recommend, urge you to participate in that. You can find the links in the description below. But so I want to share with you what you can expect from me in this channel, since a lot of you are ASMR listeners. I'm going to tell you from the bat, I am not an ASMR artist, and partly because I'm too excitable. I'm too excitable. My voice is very tonic. It's almost unnatural for me to speak in that ASMR tone. I love and appreciate ASMR artists, especially when it comes to the trauma work. It overlaps so much. So my videos are mainly educational videos. So treat this as kind of like the center hub of where you can feel validated that whatever you're going through right now, which for a lot of people has not been easy with the COVID pandemic, is actually real. You're experiencing what's happening. A lot of the things I've discovered in my 14 years of, being in my nursing career, I started very early. I started when I was a teenager. And what I've learned, I've worked in so many mental health institutions, some of the biggest mental health um, facilities here in Canada. And in all these years, what I discovered was that all the anxiety and the depression and a lot of the mental health and also physical health uh, symptoms and ailments that came about was due to an event in their life that they what I call the never well since event, that time moment in life where you were faced with an extremely difficult situation where you didn't quite have enough in you to overcome it. Partly because a lot of these events occurred when we were in childhood, and sometimes we don't even remember it clearly. That's how young we are. And so, what happens is that these adverse events or traumatic events, and that's the thing, is I'm gonna use trauma here blatantly. I'm quite unapologetic about this. I don't think that this is something that we should be fearful of. This is quite a gift, and this is something that we all have just by virtue of being a living being on this planet. We are going to acquire challenges from the universe that are sometimes very difficult to overcome. And what my mission is, what my hopes is, my goal is to teach you how you can take these really, really raw substance, refine it, and turn it into a treasure that you can be proud of and that you can use for the rest of your life. So taking something from raw into something that's valuable. Kind of sounds like alchemy, right? Except this is spiritual alchemy. So where was I? Lost my train of thought. Anyway, yes, so I want you to treat this channel as the hub, the source of information where you can access these pearls that I've learned throughout the years of my career in the trauma field, and also, most importantly, from my mentors who've lived far longer than I am, who have a lifelong worth of experiences, who I met all over the world. So this is kind of just a compendium of all of that. So I also really, really so if if you're still with me, that's a really good thing. If you can tolerate this type of speech, the way I speak is quite fast sometimes because I get excited. That's a good thing. Subscribe to the newsletter because you're gonna hear so much more. You're gonna get so much value out of that. That's like the backstage. It gives you like VIP access to my thoughts and how I come up with these things. Having said that, I do recognize that a lot of you are wanting ASMR like content. So, like what I've done in the beginning of this video, I created a nice kind of silent type film where I'm not sure if I can call it ASMR, but it has that kind of vibe to help people relax. So what I'll do is I'll integrate more of that into my videos. So I'll create three different types of videos. The primary videos that I'm going to be creating are educational content like this one. The second are the relaxation type videos where you can participate with me actively, such as guided meditations, breath techniques, etc. And third is the ASMR like passive content where you could just relax and absorb. If you stay tuned in the next video, I'm gonna exactly release one exactly like that, where I'm going to do some body work on a person who to release the pain body, the trauma body from which is oftentimes held in the body. So I fully understand that all of these are integrated, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you a really, really comprehensive, a lot of value for taking your time to be here with me and listening to me rant about what I feel are really, really important subjects in life. And if you want to hear more, there's also the podcast, and they're averaging about 90 minutes each. But in those podcasts, I recently started doing what do you call this, live sessions, like my live one-on-one, really really hard to access if you want to get an idea of how I work with people. I recently posted one on a homeopathic intake, which is 3 hours long, but I only posted half of it. The rest is on Patreon. That's the other thing too, is consider supporting me on Patreon. I'm a recent grad. I've been in school for 14 years. I've spent all my savings creating this business. And so it's really, really nice to feel the support in the material sense so that I can continue to do the work that I do. All right, I think that is it. So, if you're still with me, fantastic. Now, okay, let's go to the topic of courage. Ooh, I forgot something here. Let me write that down. Okay, so the topic of courage. So, like, why are we talking about courage? I really like wording things in a more positive, not just positive, but an action-oriented way. So I could easily say, like, how to deal with your fears, or, how to deal with your anxieties and worries. Instead, I'm choosing the word courage. And notice how I choose courage and not confidence, because confidence evokes that it's something that you already possess. Okay, a lot of us, including myself, face situations where courage is required, and courage is only going to be available to you in the presence of its opposite counterpart, fear. So how do we go about this? Because fear, as I said earlier, can really trap us. Oftentimes these fears occurred to us, or they started developing from an early age, and oftentimes they are linked to trauma. Let me give you an example. This is my journal here, and I recently started seeing a wonderful therapist. I love him. And this is really unusual because, I kid you not, the day after I started seeing him, I started having dreams, which to me was incredibly rare, because most of the times the dreams that I have are nightmares. And that's the only reason why I would remember them. First of all, they don't happen all the time, and then when they do happen, they're traumatic. And I could never understand it because it's too much. I often wake up sweating and just feeling really out of my body. And a lot of the dreams are violent, so oftentimes my dreams are not pleasant. But a couple of weeks ago, I started seeing my therapist, and he gave me this meditation, and I started doing it, and lo and behold, I started having dreams. And these dreams are quite insightful because they really do provide access to some of the ways I behave and believe about myself in the awake world. So, so what does this have to do with fears? Well, the first dream I had to do with my issues of abandonment. I realized that it goes kind of two ways. I, for example, I have a fear of people who are nice. I know, it's it sounds ridiculous, but I have a legitimate fear of nice people, because when they get too close to me, I then don't know whether or not, like, is this person wanting something from me? Like, why the hell are they moving that close? What the heck do they want from me? So, I mistrust people who are too nice, or I don't treat them with equal kind of respect. Not that I disrespect them, but because they're so nice, they're so available, they're so helpful, I don't place them in the priority as somebody who would not treat me nice. Does that kind of make sense? And yeah, I had a dream about that, several dreams actually, that kept recurring, because the problem thing is that I then have an attraction or an affinity towards people who are not necessarily the nicest people, or maybe they're not, uh, it's not a healthy relationship, I end up giving more to try to win their approval. And it's painful for me to admit, but hey, that's the reality. It is what it is. I have this kind of anxious attachment styles to people who don't give me attention and love, and I have an avoidant attachment styles to people who I find or deem too nice, because I feel that they're gonna want something in return, and they're gonna be too clingy, and then I'm gonna feel trapped and suffocated. So I was like, what do I do with this? Well, the first thing is acknowledging and recognizing, hey, this exists, and to become aware of when it does occur, because unchecked, it could really lead me to some pretty damaging situations. So it's up to me to take the courage to, first of all, acknowledge what is happening, and this has been occurring in my entire life, and then ask, well, what's happening here? And can I offer myself some kindness and compassion? Because we're all human. So in my dreams, I realized that the reason why this occurred is because when I was a child, both of my parents worked. They were both working class people. So I had to be left alone oftentimes in different strangers' homes. And as a child, I can't even remember how old I am, but that's kind of like one of my earliest memories. And having this kind of like heart sinking feeling kind of thing, and I felt extremely lonely and abandoned. Whew, it's hard. So I feel that when people reject me, when I feel like they're not reciprocating as much as I'm giving, so I try harder to try to obtain that, even though I know mentally that they're never gonna give it to me. So that's something I'm working on, and I'm so appreciative that all of you are witnessing that unfold, that I could share that with you. And the reason why I'm sharing this, and the reason why I'm specifically using myself as an example and not one of my clients, is because I want you to know that I am also a human being. Although I work with a lot of people with these emotions, and I know what to say at the right time or not to say, I myself have these issues, and that's why I know them so well. And I want to share that with all of you so that you can feel okay to have them as well. We're in this together. And that's why I really appreciate all of you who comment down below and give me so much insight and feedback as to some of your thoughts and ideas. So thank you so much. So I actually wrote a poem about this. That's how I've been kind of using my creative faculty to express how I feel, and it's been extremely healing. And I think in my last video I said that I was going to write a poem and fold it into an origami boat, and this is exactly what I did. So stay tuned until the end, and I'll read you the poem in an ASMR voice if I can. If I haven't lost my voice yet, because I've been talking so much. The leaves are looking so beautiful right now. It's autumn. Okay, so now let's go back to our topic of courage. So then I discovered this. So what do I have to do? Like, I have to face this, you know? This is something that I have to acknowledge in myself, and I'm going to have to slowly acknowledge and take accountability for this. This is a real thing. And I want to work on it because I want to improve my life. I want to make sure that one day I'm going to receive just as much as I give, and choose the right people who are going to give that to me. And also welcome the people in my life who want to be a part of my life, and not to hold this kind of stick in front of them, prodding them, make sure, don't get too close. So that's what I'm going to work on. And I started working on that by first giving to myself, allowing myself to receive from myself, so that receiving from others doesn't seem so scary or doesn't feel like, oh, I don't deserve that. So, although, being a new grad, money is kind of a something in the front of my mind, I decided that, hey, I'm going to commit to giving myself finally horseback riding lessons, because my excuse was that this isn't really like a splurge. It's more like therapy, because I'm gonna go spend time with horses, and I need to. And I've always wanted to all my life, but never had the chance to. So, lo and behold, I sent an email newsletter. And if you're part of that newsletter, you would have gotten it about I'm going to commit to the horseback riding lessons. I don't know where the money's coming from. Lo and behold, the next day, when after sending that email, I got an email from the University of Quebec, whom I've done a French course with this summer. I got a letter from them saying that, hey, you got approved for a tuition reimbursement. And I was like, oh, what? Like, you're gonna give me back 100% of the money that I paid to your school to learn French. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna mail it. And I actually received it in mail a couple of days ago and cashed it in today. And so there goes my my tuition, my now tuition, my it's gonna cover my horseback riding therapy. And the funny thing was, it was $25 short. So I told one of my friends, I told all my friends, I told my friends, like, hey, like, this miraculous thing happened, I let go to the universe. I called the horseback riding lessons, not knowing if I'm gonna have money in the next day. This money shows up, but I'm $25 short. And lo and behold, one of my friends, who also happened to be my patron on Patreon, sent me over that remaining $25. And it's such a kind gesture. Like, it's not a lot of money, but that $25 completes the entire horseback riding fee for a month. So that is like, it's golden. Like, I can finally, like, spend time with horses. So it just goes to show that when you let go and you're courageous and you go out there and you go for it, no matter if it makes sense or not, the universe does align to your favor, because courage favors the bold, or no, fortune favors the bold. So that's a really great example that I wanted to share with you. The other thing that I'm being courageous about is, finally, like, I had this dream and realization that a lot of my anger problems had come from people telling me what to do and what not to do. And the dream had spoken to me that the reason why that happened was because that happens, excuse me, is because I have being kind of repressed. I've been told what kind of schooling I need to do. I was never allowed to do certain things. Never allowed to express my gender the way it fully wants to. So I feel like I'm meeting a whole new person and getting to know this other side of me, a more feminine side that I never knew existed before. And so I wanted to share with you. So this is my second courage thing. I have found these shoes. They belong to my friend. I put them on for the first time, and honestly, it felt amazing. I should post it. I'll post the video for you. But honestly, like, I have like these Cinderella feet that just could fit like any women's shoes out there, and I felt really confident in them. It felt natural and it felt comfortable. And I'm not lying to you, I really did love wearing these heels. So I'm gonna play around with that and share more about that with all of you. And I know this is a lot of rambling about courage. There's three things. So there was that, the gender fluidity that I'm now getting to know about myself. And the last thing is, I started practicing self-love through, as you know, like I am a big yogi, been doing yoga for as long as I can remember. I started doing it naked. And I actually want to encourage all of you to try something. You don't have to do naked yoga, but just try in a becoming more accessible to your own body. You can first do it in front of a mirror. I recorded it because I wanted to see my whole entire beautiful body as I get into these poses. And yeah, unfortunately can't post that on Patreon, but that's something that would go to an OnlyFans page if I ever get there one day. So yeah, I really encourage all of you to find if not three things like myself, at least one thing that you're going to explore and be courageous about, and drop it into the description below. I'd love to hear. I'd love to read what you have to say about that. And so, I guess without further ado, I should read that poem. The poem is in French, and I'm still trying to figure out how to use the features, the cameras and stuff like that, or sorry, YouTube. So I'm not sure if I can put subtitles, but I will read it for you. Okay. Make sure that I can capture that voice that everybody loves. I should start talking like this in my podcast. So I'm going to move close to the mic. All right. So this poem is exactly about what I told you regarding the fears and that I'm facing and courage. Un poème sur mon meilleur ami. Mon vieil ami, quand j'étais petit, tu étais mon meilleur ami. De si loin que je me souviens, chaque fois que mes parents partent au travail, je suis abandonné et mon corps est tombé. C'est comme un ascenseur qui sautait. Chaque fois, c'est comme si mon corps plongeait dans mon estomac. Après, je sens la panique approcher. Quand je suis abandonné, rejeté, que je ne suis pas suffisant, la peur me dictait mon amour propre. Mon ami, j'ai peur, mais je voudrais te dire que sans peur, ton courage n'existait pas non plus. Le courage, c'est comme ton grand frère, il veut te protéger. Apeuré, tu ne peux pas effrayer. Si tu veux jouer, tu dois jouer doucement. Après tout, je suis ton meilleur ami. Sans moi, tu es seul, sans ami, sans existence. Je voudrais devenir ton ami. Tu es toujours bienvenu dans ma vie. Mais, s'il te plaît, donne-moi la chance de gagner de temps en temps. Avoir le pouvoir, le courage, donc je pourrai grandir. La peur, merci pour tout. Tu es mon meilleur ami. Tu es mon meilleur prof de la vie. Ça c'est tout. Merci. I just wanted to say thank you to my teacher, Mélissa Boisvert, for making the necessary corrections in my poem. And I also want to thank my good friend Hibiscus for supporting me in Patreon and for giving me $25 so that I could reach my full potential. So that's it for now, everyone. I would love to hear what are some of the things that you are working on when it comes to developing courage. Okay? See you next time.